Listener discretion is advised. The RPGeek Podcast is made by three friends with varying opinions, political, and religious beliefs. Nothing these three say should be taken as an attack on anyone or anything in particular. In addition, we like to say naughty words and make jokes that may come off as offensive to some people. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the RPGeek Podcast. My name is Dave, and once again, I'm joined by my two friends, Ryan and Jordan, and today's very exciting for us. Ryan, would you like to tell us why?
Yeah, today's launch day.
Yay!
Yay!
It is launch day.
And we've been working on this for quite some bit, haven't we, Dave?
Yeah,
Quite some bit.
Quite some bit.
Quite some bit.
Since August, it's now the fall. Woo! Go fall.
Woo!
We're finally ready.
Yeah.
You know, how do you guys feel about it?
I feel great about it.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, you always have to one-up me, don't you?
Yeah, because
Okay.
you fucking suck.
Well,
You guys, you know, it's so cute how close you two are.
Love you, Ryan.
I'll get closer.
Woo-hoo-hoo. It's not that kind of podcast.
Oh, well, I was going to say we can turn this into some ASMR.
We can, but we need better microphones for that. Please, no.
So,
Yeah, why don't we do the usual? What have you been up to lately, Ryan?
lately, just kind of help setting up everything prior to launch day, helping with that. Got some new work coming my way. As if anybody doesn't know, I am a tradesman by nature, and I'm switching trades.
Woohoo!
So
That's fun.
Get to work more as a general contractor than into any particular trade, which will be fun.
Yeah.
You and I and the wife went to a concert
Yes.
together, which was a lot of fun.
Normally not exactly my cup of tea, but it's always like I enjoy it. You know, a bit heavier than what I typically listen to day to day, but it's not like I'm opposed to it.
We had some adventures in the pit, didn't we?
I would say that the pit had adventures right up to us.
Yeah, that's true. Getting the very first song that plays, getting kicked in the kidney and the shoulder blade was a lot of fun.
Oh, the worst part about it was like I woke up that day with back pain. Like, you ever sleep on a blanket and you just get like a weird twist in the blanket, and for whatever reason, just like that one thing just ruins your back for the whole day.
Yeah, and what really made me upset about the entire thing was the man was wearing a beaver costume.
He was
Nice.
Bucky the Beaver
It
or
was
something
Bucky
like that.
the Beaver,
Yeah.
the onesie.
What is that from?
It's from Bucky's.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. But he was wearing the entire Bucky the Beaver onesie.
Yeah. This dude was hardcore dancing, just fist flying, kicks and everything, and he hit you in
The kidney.
He hit me in the shoulder nearing the spine.
And I clacked my jaw on the wife's head, and she had an egg on her head for 2 days after that one.
I bet she really was happy with you.
Yeah, no, she was like, woke up the next day, she's like, why does my head hurt so much? And I was like, why does my teeth hurt so much? And yeah, it's because I clacked my teeth over her dome.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great concert. It was Wage War.
Yep.
was the headliner. I don't remember.
We had Era,
Yep.
which is ERRA.
Yeah.
Then we had Throne, which is THROWN, not like the sitting throne.
Yeah, like you're
And they
throwing
were-
something.
Yeah, and they were heavy.
Yeah, those were the
and
guys
loud.
they were the guys with like the Yankees hats, right?
Yes.
I didn't expect that.
And then the opener was Fame on Fire, which
I really liked them.
really did really well. I thought their new album was great. I thought the performance was great. The only thing, of course they're an opener, but like their set was like 5 or 6 songs, and it went so quick.
I felt like the sets got longer and longer right up until Wage War.
Yeah, of course.
But I really liked Fame on Fire. I thought that they were really good. They're from Florida, right?
Yes.
And then Throne is like New York.
Throne,
I think.
yeah, it's kind of like New York, Pennsylvania.
Those
that
guys
area.
threw me for a loop.
Man, I was actually worried about the pit like swarming us on some of their set.
Well, it was crazy because as soon as, like you said, as soon as the first song happened, we knew that there was going to be a pit going into this.
Yeah.
So it was standing room only.
Yep.
For everything. There was no seating or whatever. So we're pretty close to the stage. I would say we're within 10 feet of the stage.
Yeah, there was like probably 3 or 4 rows of people in front of us.
Yeah. And we were just like, all right, where we are, there's probably going to be a pit, but we should be okay. Maybe it'll be further back because it was a wide open space. Like there was plenty of room.
Yeah, it was huge.
And what we didn't realize was as soon as song...
Thank you.
Yeah, as soon as song 1 from Fame on Fire started, the pit literally was like, we were the line where the pit ended.
Yeah, and it was probably like twice the size of this room.
It was
huge.
It was huge.
But there was like 8 guys in it on the first song.
Yeah, and they were just kind of hardcore dancing. There was one guy just in a corn outfit, just tall as hell. This dude had to have been like 8 feet.
So this pit, you mentioned corn outfit and Bucky the Beaver.
Bucky the Beaver.
Was there a Teletubby?
No,
there was
fucking
a
amateurs.
hot dog.
Fucking amateurs.
There was a hot dog.
Amateurs. Not even a real pit.
And I think both of us were like, hey, that's a hot dog. Hey, that hot dog is a girl. Like we weren't like there were a few people in costumes there where we were just like, how are you in this and not dead? Like there was
there's always like that stereotypical like super short girl.
I think at one point there was like an 11-year-old in this pit.
There was, and
damn, good for them.
He also
was kicking ass.
He also,
right up until he got his ass kicked.
Well, no, remember the part where he was crowd surfing and they dropped him?
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
did they drop him on the head?
I don't know. No, he got right back up.
Yeah, he got back up, so he was all right.
Speaking of crowd surfing, Dave.
Oh my God,
we got the perfect part of the area for crowd surfing.
Yeah,
we literally just became.
So we weren't like if you have
arms up.
Yeah, if you have like a half circle as the stage, right? And you look at like the middle of that half circle, we were slightly to the right of that.
We started in the middle.
We started directly in the middle.
Just got pushed out because the pit got bigger.
And honestly, it was probably better for us because the amount of people that were crowd surfing through the middle and towards the end, the pit extended all the way to the stage in the middle.
You know, I got to bring it up or you got to bring it up, but they tried to free Willy a couple times.
There was a very large person.
They tried to break into SeaWorld and let out.
That too,
well, I'm pretty sure they broke them out of SeaWorld.
Yeah, there was a very large person who decided to crowd surf, and if we weren't the muscly men that we were, they would not have made it all the way. They are very, very like
very dense
people.
Got you.
And you know, I'm not going to fault anybody for having a good time. You know,
props to you guys for keeping them up.
It took a lot.
It took a lot of everybody.
It took a lot
in that room.
I have no judgment here or there. As a bigger guy myself, I got no I wouldn't personally do that because I know if I fall, I'm not getting back up.
Yeah.
like
that person went more than once.
Yeah, they went twice.
And then the second time they kicked me in the teeth.
The first
and I was
time
bleeding from my gums.
Yeah, the first time that they went, I remember because my back was hurting, I felt the lower part of my spine just like
you mentioned that
just slide to the side. And at one point in the concert, I couldn't take a full breath. I was only able to get about half my lungs filled.
Ooh.
Yep. And you know, there was a couple, I would say, gems of the, how you put it, like crowd surfing. One, we got that really light girl.
I one-handed her. This girl had to have weighed like 45 pounds soaking wet. Like super tiny, you know, really cute. And I one-handed, just like kept her going.
And we had this really big friendly guy. He started off behind us, but he ended up in front of us, and he wasn't paying attention to the crowd surfing. And this girl, she probably 80 pounds soaking wet.
I wouldn't even say that. I think she was literally 45 pounds. Yeah, she could not have been.
And so, you know, she gets launched at the end of us because nobody in front of us is paying attention, and she wraps around this dude like a scarf. And he's a big dude, so he's just sitting there like he overhead presses her above his head, and he's like, "Where did this come from?"
He was like, "I have acquired a new person," and like he pretty much from him to you couldn't really tell, but from him to, you know how the security will stand in front of the stage, he pretty much just like handed her off. Like that's how close we were to the stage. He was like, "Here, this is yours," kind of thing. And she went up a couple of times, but there were a few guys who went up that were like, they looked like they would be like maybe 100 150
they look
pounds.
like my size.
Yeah,
Like, medium build, like, if anything.
Yeah, but like where it's just one of those where it's like, oh yeah, I could totally lift that dude, whatever,
But then they would land on you.
But then they would get to you, and it's like, this bro just drinks milk constantly.
He's a chonky boy, yeah.
It's just like, it was the densest dude. I felt like gravity had increased with some of these dudes.
Yeah. So there was a moment with me with one of them dense guys. And, I'm standing next to you guys on the left.
Yeah.
And, the wife is very petite. So I look at the wife and I'm like, hey, stay back. Like, this is a dense dude. We've experienced him before.
Yeah.
And so, meanwhile, one of them, just prior to that guy, you took my shoulder and you're like, hey, there's one coming.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I put them over my head. You somewhere said that there was a second one coming, but I did not hear you.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there's this woman on my head, bending my neck to oblivion.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get her off of me, and I elbowed the wife so hard in the forehead that I looked at her, and she just kind of had this stunned look on her face, like, did that just happen? And then I get this person, but this hefty guy comes through.
I
It
forgot.
could have been too hard because she's still the wife.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, at one point, you were the only person carrying this one dude.
So this dude,
and they were like legit. They were flat. Like it's just Ryan, like a firefighter. He's just like,
and this dude had to weigh 200 pounds
at
plus.
least.
And
At
so
least.
he comes up to me, and I thought I had all the help in the world because I'm taking this guy across like the Red Sea, this entire gap.
Literally one person. he's literally one person holding this guy because everybody behind us has handed him off. Everybody in front of us is not paying attention. So, and I'm dealing with somebody else because there was just so many people crowd surfing at one point.
Meanwhile, I got this dude over on top of me. My neck is really hurting because he's like putting his weight on the top of my head.
He walks about 8 to 10 feet holding this guy.
And I passed him off, and everyone's like giving me pats on the shoulders, and I'm like, yeah, thanks for helping, guys. Like, I didn't realize that I was the only one holding this man. Now, me being a nerd, I was like, okay, so what definitely happened was forward momentum.
Yes.
And I had this dude, and I'm pretty sure I used him as a battering ram until I hit the next set of people.
You took out at least 6 people.
And
it was incredible.
Off, but I'm pretty sure I could have cleared an entire aisle to the front if I wanted to. Luckily, they were paying attention. But there was this little guy standing behind us.
Yes, he was funny.
He pats me on the back. And he was like, "Hey, great job!" And I'm like, I was like, oh man, I'm sorry if I stepped on your foot. He was like, no, holy shit, how did you do that? And I was like, why is everybody giving me praise? Like, what just happened here?
Yeah, because
I have an Atlas stone on my back.
Well, that's what it was. It was just like he just channeled his inner like Greek god and just like push this dude.
And I woke up with so much pain that the muscle structure between the shoulder blades and the base of the neck, like I woke up the next day not being able to take a full breath because like I messed it up.
I surprisingly like I said, at some point during that concert, I couldn't take a full breath.
Yeah.
And then adrenaline kicked in. That kind of helped.
Yeah.
I surprisingly woke up the next day feeling pretty great.
Oh, I woke up so sore. I was in so much pain. But I also did go in the pit at one point during literally the heaviest song of the headliner.
Yeah, honestly, if my back wasn't hurting, I would have joined you.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of glad that I didn't because at that point, I don't know that either one of us would have been able to make it home properly.
And I still have a mark from that pit on me.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
It was honestly,
that was an intense pit.
I've been to a lot of metal shows and things when I was younger. It's not exactly my scene anymore, but I'll happily go if like he invited me. But
where's my ticket?
You
were working.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We'll get to that.
It was crazy. I've very rarely seen a pit that intense.
And not only that, but since it's indoors, everything is dark.
Yes.
And the only time you can see people moving is during the lighting, like the bands use. So it's almost like in slow motion. You just feel yourself get pummeled.
But that's the thing too, is the pit kept getting bigger.
Nice.
It just started
growing.
It started encompassing the rest of the
All right, so you guys got
room
in the pit. You got the guys doing the 2-step.
Yeah.
Like their arms flailing and shit,
Yep.
of course. You got the circle pit going.
Yep.
Yeah,
we had a circle pit at one point.
Did you get a row pit going?
No,
we didn't.
Everyone
get
gets
that.
down on the ground and starts rowing.
No,
down
that
the
was
boat?
the
That's
one-
more
that
of like
was-
a Monomarth thing.
I wish we got that, but no, so at one point, and these guys got so drunk that there was this one dickhead that like he was just pushing his way through everybody.
And
And
like
then-
literally it was right
Those are the
behind
guys
us.
who are like the 6 other dudes who need to get together and just like knock him the fuck out
Well,
and
so
drag
he,
him out.
he was built stoutly, but
Yeah.
he was short.
He was
and then his
short.
girlfriend in front of him, I felt something like shove me from behind and Dave, and I thought the pit had crept up to us, but it was just them just like trying to plow through
just
the crowd.
most obnoxious people.
Yeah.
And so one guy decided he didn't want to be pushed because
And
we
he
weren't in
shoved
the
back.
pit. So he shoved back, and then this asshole just like punched him a couple of times in the
he
head.
cold cocked him in the nose.
Just not even.
Please tell me everyone swarmed him and knocked him the hell
No,
out.
I went to grab him, and Ryan was like, "Protect my small wife," and
That's
grabbed
your
like,
job, not his.
no, because I had the wife,
It was
and he's in front
literally-
of me, and like
Jordan, you and
Yeah.
I are further away.
Oh, like help you?
Yeah,
Gotcha, okay.
You and I are further away right now where we're sitting than this dude was.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Like,
because the way
Yeah.
that the people were grabbing and trying to pull
It-
this dude
it
away,
got-
I wasn't sure if it was going to turn into an all-out brawl.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
I
yeah,
pulled Dave
yeah.
away from it, because I was like, if this is going to brawl, like I need to get out of here.
yeah, and that was and it was one of those things where it's like I probably would have done the same thing if I was in Ryan's shoes, but like as me, who is just like I could have like I'm now living with I could have stopped this. Like
Yeah.
I could have prevented this man from getting his nose punched, but thankfully it was just a couple hits. The guy was okay.
Yeah.
You know, they separated.
Except those
They
two
had
were-
a little bit of beef afterwards, but nothing
Which
physical.
I would have loved to see before
now
we
the
left.
guy that was shoving should have been like
He should've-
just swarmed and then someone dragged him out or something.
I mean, realistically, yes, he probably should have. And
I
if
hate
it
those
was,
people.
and if it was like at a different venue, he probably would have gotten stomped. But I mean, again, not advocating for the violence of any. You shouldn't be violent at a concert anyway.
No,
Like,
I mean, unless
Metalhead-
you're in the pit. Like, if you're in the pit, that's your
even
choice.
in the pit,
Even in the pit,
there's
like,
that
it's
respect
shoving.
that everyone
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
Like,
Metalheads are typically like they get it all out
Yeah,
in a
and, like,
nice way.
yeah,
Yeah.
you fall down, they pick you up.
Yeah,
kind of
they're
thing.
like, "Hey man,
yeah.
you all right? Good to go." Like me all night. Like I was lifting people, I was sending people crowd
I
surfing.
went to bed really easily that night because I was so exhausted.
I'm
That was
sure.
a workout.
I think I stayed up for a couple extra hours.
And I love how my petite wife, that's her first time in an actual metal show, and she got to see everything.
I mean, she
Fights, pits, crowd surfing,
she
everything.
chose where we were.
Yeah.
We were like, we could be on the outskirts if you want. We don't mind, you know.
Yeah.
And she was just like, no, the right here is fine. I'd like to see everything. Meanwhile, everybody stands like 6 feet taller than she is. I think I had a great time.
Yeah, she had a good time. She
I
had a
got
great time.
speared in the shoulder.
was she able to see the stage still?
Yeah.
Good.
I kind of like
Well, she couldn't see the stage, but she could see the people on it.
Yeah.
I kind of maneuvered her
Shut up, Dave.
around, especially when that big guy got in front of us. I was even having a hard time like seeing the stage because
Yeah.
that big friendly guy. 'Cause
Yeah,
I was
he
like,
was so nice.
He was huge.
He was so nice. There was this group, drunk people that were really nice.
Oh, they were really sweet.
They were-
We
they-
threw him up in the air a couple
Yeah,
times.
I helped at least 3 people have their first
crowd
surf, and I felt really good about that. And one of the guys was like, "Hey man, thank you. You really like, you know,
Yeah,
that's
like-
the kind of interaction that you want at a concert."
We had relatively good people around us,
Yeah.
which was nice. And then like even the short guys behind me, like I asked him if he wanted to like come up because he had his girlfriend next to him, and he was about the same height as his girlfriend, and they were kind of short. I was like, "Oh, you guys want to push up here so you can see better?" And he was like, "No, I feel safe around you." After I Atlas
Yeah.
that dude.
Yeah, I mean, I felt safer around you.
No, that was a good time. That was a great time.
I got speared in the shoulder with a drumstick, which was pretty cool. I
yeah,
Like
got
the
that-
drummer threw it.
He threw it,
No,
and
the
it got me.
drummer- the drummer
the
threw
drummer
the
threw
stick.
it, and it got me right here. And I was like, "Ow, what the hell was that?" I looked down. I'm like, "Oh shit, it's a drumstick. I have it in the other room."
Yeah, it's
Nice.
the drummer from Wage War.
Nice.
That was pretty cool. I've never gotten a drumstick from a concert before. I've gotten a pick,
Yeah. I've gotten a couple picks,
but I've never gotten like a real.
And can you believe that, like, when we were all younger, like, we used to do that 12 hours a day at those kinds of festivals?
Oh, dude. I mean, I would have loved to
You
do
mean me
that.
next week?
Like, I would have loved to do like the full, Mayhem Fest concerts and things like that. Like, those were a great time, but the difference between that and what we just did was on the lawn at the Mayhem Fest, I could sit. I could be away from everybody.
Yeah.
At what we just were, there was no place to sit.
No. There was no place to move.
The only place I could have been away from everybody was at the door.
Yeah.
It filled in pretty quick.
Those are the good concerts.
It was a great concert. I had a fantastic time. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no, absolutely.
That was awesome.
So to turn this over to you, Jordan, you just mentioned that you have a festival coming up. What you got going on?
I'm going to the When We Were Young festival in Vegas.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Who's your favorite band?
Chiodos, hands down.
Chiodos? All right.
Yeah.
But Dance Gavin Dance is coming out, right?
What?
Dance Gavin Dance is coming out?
Yeah, Dance Gavin Dance is going to be there. The rumor is Chiodos is getting back together fully. Like, the original singer is going to be there and everything. So, like, I have to go because I missed my shot before they broke up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of original singers, who is it that we just saw is getting their original singer back for something in the studio? Was
3 Days Grace.
3 Days Grace.
Oh, yeah. Adam Gontier came back. Yep.
Yeah, now
I
they
don't
got
know.
2 singers.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it 2 singers now?
Yeah, 2 singers.
I kind of dig that.
I mean, that's what Dance Gavin Dance did for a while, and it was awesome.
Interested to see the dynamic.
I think it's going to be really good.
Because also, if you listen to like Saint and Sonia, which is Adam Gontier's band now, his voice, because he's gotten older, does sound a little bit different than like the original like 3 Days Grace. But also the original 3 Days Grace, like recording technology versus today is a lot different.
I mean, I love that garage sound though.
Yeah, no, that gritty, grainy kind of like, no, it is really good.
Yeah.
But Jordan, what have you had going on?
Same as last time, taking care of kittens.
Yeah, how's the kittens going?
Pretty good. They're awesome.
They getting any bigger?
Yeah, actually. I was looking at old photos today, and the small one is like twice as big. It's crazy.
Oh,
it's crazy how quick they grow.
Yeah.
Like you think as a kid growing as quickly as like cats or dogs do, like you would have such severe growing pains, but for them that's perfectly normal.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It is.
Well, that's good. So they're happy and healthy.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
good.
I actually took them for like a while on my own, and yeah, it was great.
That's good. So Dave,
yes,
what is our weekly topic this week?
So today I figured, even though we've spent the first bit talking about music and things like that, today
25 minutes.
Yes. Today we're going to talk about some of our favorite and least favorite fights in video games, whether it's bosses, general mobs, mini bosses, just things that stood out to us where, we could sit there and have like fond or not so fond memories of it.
Before we get into that, just random thought I just had thinking about that in the conversation we just had. Rhythm, like a rhythm game where one of the boss battles is an asshole in a pit.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that exists. Isn't that Friday Night Funkin'?
Is it?
I don't know. Have you ever, that's like a flash game where it's like with like the arrow keys and it's just like a diss track or so. It's neat. I don't know. I know the guy from Tank Men is there.
Oh, okay.
It's fun. But yeah, I mean, does anybody have one off the top of their head that they wanna start with?
I mean, I'm just gonna go right into it then.
Yeah, it's all you.
All you.
Sephiroth. Let's go.
From which iteration?
The original 7. Let's start there.
All right. So
bye, Ryan.
Ryan heard some Weebass name and proceeded to flee the vicinity.
All right. So Sephiroth from the original 7. Which
get out of the way.
Yeah. Which fight?
Let's just the whole thing.
The whole thing. The entire
all phases.
The entire final boss.
Yeah.
So what about it was something that stood out to you?
So first thing was, what the hell is going on? Why are there like freaking feathers and wings and shit growing out of this dude's ass? What the hell is going on? Oh my god, it's this weird chimera amalgamation of insanity. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, now it's like, I get it, it's a trope and everything, but when I first played, I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, that if you start with Final Fantasy VII, you don't realize that a lot of JRPGs, specifically a lot of JRPGs within Final Fantasy, the final bosses tend to have this weird, like, angelic, almost like a deviant, a fallen angel kind of trope to them. Very, like, there's a meme where it's like level 1, fight the bandits, level 100, fight God.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of how it goes. I think Final Fantasy 6 with Kefka really popularized that. Even though there were others before that did it, I think that's the one that kind of stood out to me in the terms of Final Fantasy. But would you say that's one of your favorite like bosses that you've ever fought? Or
I mean, it's definitely up there. I mean, I'm sure you agree with this. A lot of it is because it's just so iconic.
It is very iconic. The theme song.
Yeah, exactly.
That was incredible. Just because on the PS1 you really didn't get the orchestra operatic songs to it, and throughout the entire game, pretty much after you left Midgar, this was the guy that you were being told about. He had done all this crazy, he was just this crazy soldier kind of deal. He was this thing that you were chasing, and then you finally come to it, and it's just like, oh, okay, this is what Disc 3 was about, was the dungeon leading up to this dude. And that was definitely, I agree. I think that was a good final boss.
Yeah. Which iteration of I'll include all forms of official media. What was your favorite iteration of the Sephiroth boss battle? Playable and non.
I would say, honestly, the one that I had the most fun with was not in Final Fantasy.
The Kingdom Hearts one?
Kingdom Hearts 2 specifically.
Yeah. I mean, to play, that is the most fun, hands down. Shut up, Ryan. Shut up. This is not your time. This is our time to nerd out. You can wait.
It's definitely not the best one.
I hate you.
It was a lot of fun fighting him. The triangle mechanic where
the reaction commands.
The reaction commands in Kingdom Hearts 2, where it's just like you could be laying the smack down on this dude, dodging his attacks, and then all of a sudden just like you have a split second to hit that reaction command. Otherwise he just like melts you. Like that was a lot of fun. I liked that more than the original Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 1.
That was a fun battle. It had some wonky mechanics which were cool, but in all honesty, it's one of the easiest battles. Once you know what you're doing.
Once you figured it out, it's not difficult in Kingdom Hearts 1. Kingdom Hearts 2, he starts off with just this like crazy slash attack that if you don't hit the triangle button at the right time takes away half your health, even if you're max level. Like absolutely insane. It really good. The Final Fantasy remake, 7 remake, final boss deal was a lot of fun.
Disc 1, you mean? That remake.
The original Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Yeah, got you.
The final boss at the end of Midgar was a lot of fun, really cinematic. Personally, I still kind of go back and forth on whether or not I like it in terms of the story of Final Fantasy 7. But as for the fight itself, I had a great time with that.
You have not at this time finished Rebirth, correct?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, you've been busy.
I have been very busy working on this podcast, and I have been distracted by so many other games at this point that getting back into it, like I hate to admit it, my PS5 isn't even plugged in right now.
Oh yeah, it's not, huh?
No, I've been playing with my new fancy PC.
You're welcome.
It's so nice. I just started playing Rogue Trader again.
Of course you did.
Dude, it's so good.
Which I'm actually going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You've been putting a lot of time, though, into the new Legend of Zelda.
Yes, that was the other one.
What is your favorite boss or mob that you have found so far in that one?
Doesn't matter, just use bed.
I mean, in the new Legend of Zelda, one of the best things that you could do is at a certain point, you get a water block that you could use, and you can just stack it as many high as you need.
That's not how liquid works.
It's not, but it's magic liquid, so
this,
it's okay.
Minecraft?
Pretty much.
I have some magic liquid for you.
Oh dear. So you can.
Why?
So
why?
But even besides. Moving on, besides, being able to stack the water and everything, you could just do one square of it, and then you have this ability in the game to grab enemies or echoes that you summon. If you grab an enemy and you have the one brick of water, you could drag that enemy into the water and just drown them. It's like super fucked up in terms of like a Zelda thing, but it's a really easy way to just be like, I don't want to deal with this right now. Water, die.
Is that like an actual mechanic, or is that like more like an exploit?
No, it's an actual, so the entire game is an exploit.
Okay.
It is an actual mechanic. It is a 2.5D 3D open world Zelda. I kind of hope that outside of like the Breath of the Wild style Zeldas, every Zelda is like this going forward.
Pretty much, unless it's been a remake, every Zelda since Breath of the Wild has basically been one giant exploit. Just because of the way they've been making them and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fun. It's a good thing.
It is a fantastic thing. It's just Nintendo is just like, hey, we are giving you the ability to do this. Have fun, in this sandbox world. That being said, I still really want like another traditional Zelda with like a hook shot and things like that. Yes. But if it's done in the way that Echoes of Wisdom is done, oh hell yes. Just make me a god.
So Dave, the same question that was asked to Jordan. If you could just pick a mob or a boss.
Just a boss that just like really stood out to me. Mine's actually from Bloodborne.
Okay.
What's his name? Ram, the big ass, the vacuo spider.
I couldn't get past the tutorial boss because of the damn frame rate.
Skill issue.
It is a skill issue, but it's because of the frame rate. Because I had the same problem with the other Soulsborns that were 30 frames. All the 60 frame versions, Dark Souls Remastered, Demon Souls Remake, I'm fine with. I can actually play them.
That sounds like we've talked about this. That is a problem that you're having with graphics, and your brain's just not connecting something.
Exactly.
You need to stop playing modern games for a bit and just go back and play a shit ton of retro games, even though the retro games themselves are 60 frames per second.
Dave's mic stand has decided it didn't want to be a part of the conversation anymore.
Jordan, both you and Dave have gotten my Crab Champions game down to 2 frames per second, and we still play?
Yeah, but that's because that's different. Everything's dead when it's 2 frames per second.
Including me.
Yeah, when there's slowdown, everybody has fun.
As far as that goes, he was an incredible boss.
He wasn't even difficult as far as like.
But it was just so like aesthetically pleasing,
and the entire world changed after you beat him.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing that kind of stood out to me was like very like as far as like Soulsborne bosses go, very easy boss. It summoned a lot of random bullshit mobs.
How far into the game is it?
I would say it's less than halfway, but just less than halfway.
Man, I really want to play this game so bad. Like I've watched people play it. I've just never been able to get past that damn boss like on my own.
Yeah, I mean that's a skill
Sony
issue.
Fucking remake it.
No, they're too busy remaking Until Dawn.
Which honestly, it's full of bugs, which has pissed me off because I love that game. I absolutely love that game.
All right.
But it did not deserve a remaster.
No, not at all.
It did. Like maybe a remaster. All right, fine. Like scrub up the textures.
It deserved a port, if anything,
100%.
Which it didn't need because PS4 games work on a PS5. The fact that they sat there and wasted time and resources remaking an interactive movie. It's not a video game. They didn't add anything to it. It's the same fucking movie that it was before, but now it's semi-prettier graphics. Like
it's now.
Are you stupid?
Like the increase in quality of like hair and like the facial structure. Like
it didn't need
that.
it.
I get because it's a movie.
It
but
didn't need it.
It didn't. Correct. It didn't need it.
And if I may throw out,
I guess I'm okaying it because facial graphics.
And if I may throw out the PS5 versus PS5 Pro version of Last of Us, where they changed Ellie's hair and gave her glasses all of a sudden.
No,
that's a DLC skin, isn't it?
It's a DLC skin.
Yeah,
but still, they didn't need to do that.
The Last
of Us is becoming as bad as Bethesda with Skyrim.
It really
100%.
100% really is. Like Sony needs to realize that they have games older than 3 years ago. It's friggin' ridiculous. Stop remaking recent games.
100%.
Like
100%.
Port it, fine. I would love a PC port of certain games.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
But stop. Like if the game is less than 10 years old, it does not need a remake.
No.
So like
if I could buy it at GameStop and still have to spend $30 on a pre-owned copy, it doesn't need a goddamn remake.
100%.
They do that with every game, though, so that doesn't mean anything.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything. GameStop is overpriced as fuck.
Well,
screw you, GameStop.
Yeah, fuck GameStop. As I'm wearing the GameStop T-shirt that I still have from when we worked there.
So about my mobs.
Yeah. Let's talk about.
First, I gotta say this.
Okay, go ahead.
Last of Us Part 1, I'll accept it.
No,
the PS5 port.
No.
I'll accept it because it fixed the naming convention specifically.
No.
They have Part 1 and Part 2. Fine, whatever. Then Part 2 remaster came out and ruined it again, which pissed me the hell off.
You know what? It was the best one. Was the original Last of Us on PS3 that just didn't get touched before the DLC.
Yeah.
That is the best one.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
yeah,
even
of
all the
course.
bugs and brokenness, like that's why like vanilla Skyrim, yeah, it's horrible because there's so many bugs. But it's also the best version, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's just like that was the way the game was intended to be, even if it was terrible with the bugs.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the wife was playing the vanilla version the other day because she wanted the achievements.
And it almost destroyed her
it
computer.
That was funny.
It
That was
nuked her
funny.
computer to the point where we had to like actually shut it off like hard
Yeah.
because it hard locked her. And we actually because
Thank you,
can-
Bethesda.
on PC you can use console commands.
Yeah.
We got to the Bleak's Fall Barrow, which is one of the first missions. We had the golden claw. We were about to do the puzzle. Nothing moved. I tried it. We reloaded it. We did so many different things. It was broken. So I had to turn no clip on. So we just go through the door.
Yeah.
Like, and so we could finish the quest. But like the problem is now there's a part of the golden claw quest when you return it to Lucian or whatever his name is that you can't complete now because you didn't activate the door.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest,
Skill issue.
I was gonna say that's early enough in the game where I would just restart. You know, if you didn't do a whole bunch of crazy stuff, but at the same time, you could also use console commands to check certain flags and get it
there's
to be
certain
where you
console
need it to
commands
be.
that don't. What I love about Bethesda games, at least, there's certain console commands that don't deactivate achievements.
Yeah,
Like you can unlock the entire map to fast travel everywhere you want to go,
yeah.
and it won't deactivate.
Well, I
you
mean-
can change your carry weight; it won't deactivate.
What's the code for that? It's
for carry weight?
no, for the unlocking all the fast travel.
Oh, I forget the fast travel one, but I know the carry weight one by heart.
Yeah, it's what
Player.mod.av space carry weight space number.
You guys are nerds.
I remember the teleportation thing, COC, then cell name. Yeah.
But anyways,
Shut up, Dave.
So we talked about bosses that were kind of special to us in some way.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's a specific boss
Oh.
from any game that you've ever played?
We've had a little conversation about this one.
Yeah.
When you asked me that question originally, and I will mention here that one of the ones that really stands out to me, N64 game, originally, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I called it.
Yep.
Oh my god.
The Great Mighty Pooh.
Oh my
Yep.
god, I love the Great
And,
Mighty Pooh.
you know, I gotta say, I don't know if they still do it today because I don't expose myself enough to like.
You shouldn't expose
Oh,
yourself.
Are you
yeah.
sure you don't?
Just to Jordan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
For anybody at home, none of us are wearing pants right now. It's really hot.
Yeah. No.
You actually made me spit take. I hate you.
This is just a Skype call during COVID all over again.
Yeah. Oh, well, the guy on CNN. Yeah.
So, anyways, you know, I gotta say,
I'll
like,
wipe my face off now.
That's because we're not wearing
Oh my
pants.
god. Okay.
black white on it.
I walked into that one. That was my bad.
You walked into something. Anyway, go ahead.
So,
Yeah, the Great Mighty Pooh, Ryan.
I'm done. I'm over this podcast. Goodbye, everyone.
So the older bosses, and I don't know if they do it as much anymore because I really haven't like experienced it. But I like how the older bosses had different stages, not
Yeah.
just a health bar.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, when they get down low in their health, that like certain things trigger and activate.
Yeah.
And the Great Mighty Pooh had 3 parts to his song, and he would do different things. And I love the N64 bosses and kind of like GameCube era bosses, would that matter? Where you had to change up your tactic.
Yeah.
Like you were like, oh, I'm zoning in on this boss, and then a second stage or a third stage happens, and it's like, oh, I got to switch everything, and the music changes around it and everything. I loved that.
Yeah,
part.
so that's something that exists more in Japanese games,
Yeah.
whether it's JRPGs or something, like the different boss phases.
Yeah.
You'll see that a lot in like Souls
Okay.
games.
Can you
I
name a
did notice that.
JRPG that has a boss that changes tactics halfway through?
What is this? Dora the Explorer?
I'm asking
Hey
Ryan.
you the
kids,
map?
could you?
No,
Hey kids,
no.
could you name a
I'm not
one
fucking
boss
talking to
in
the audience. I'm
JRPG?
fucking talking to Ryan. Shut up.
No, I'm not a weep.
Got him. Literally any JRPG.
I
ever.
was trying to get him to say Kingdom Hearts.
I know you were.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I fucking delisted that game in my heart years ago, so no,
on.
that wasn't going to be my answer. Anyways, so
Anyway, but yeah,
Go ahead.
so the Great Mighty Pooh was a fantastic boss.
it really was.
You're laughing. You haven't played Conker's Bad Fur Day, have you?
No, I've not played the game myself. I have watched a playthrough.
Okay.
Okay, so the
So
Great Mighty Pooh
you're at
is
least
amazing.
familiar enough with the
Yeah.
character in question.
Yeah.
So Conker's Bad Fur Day, all of it, like, was just one of the best games from the N64 era.
Yeah, I really felt like an Adult Swim game right off the rip.
Oh,
100%.
Oh, definitely. It was so vulgar and just vile, like from start to finish. But like at the same time, it was just like you're supposed to laugh at this, you know. And it was framed in such a cutesy way.
Yeah,
where like
that's why I was able to convince my parents to rent it for me.
If your parents walked in, they would be like,
the cover like looks like just a kid game.
Yeah, and it was
the best part about it.
Playing it.
Yeah, it was just like very bright, vibrant colors. The first area after you get through the tutorial bit
the
is
drunken tavern bit.
Yeah, after you get through that, the first area is just like this bright, like almost Banjo-Kazooie style world. And, you know, unless you're looking at it, I mean, granted, at that point you still have the sunflower with the boobies and the bees flying around giving you shit, and you walk past where the great mighty Pooh is and
then you had the tools in the barn.
Yeah,
that one of them got executed via rope.
Yeah, like there's it's just subtle humor, but if a parent walked in as a kid, you were able to hide it. You know,
like tools like screwdriver and shit.
Yeah, so it was like a paint can, a paintbrush, and then I think there was like a saw or something.
Oh, okay.
And one of them got executed via rope. And it was just like, this is so dark. But as a kid, I didn't understand it. I was like, oh. So believe it or not, that story extends a little bit. In my uncle's house, his original house, he had one of those staircases that like kind of went up on the right side, but had like almost like a kind of like a balcony aspect to it at the top.
Yeah,
where it wasn't like a raised ranch or anything, but you could definitely see like a railing where you would walk down the hallway, and halfway down the hallway was a railing that looked into the foyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to execute my stuffed animals via rope over the side of that railing after I saw it in Conker's Bad Fur Day. I was like, oh, this is normal. And my parents were terrified when they would walk through the hallway downstairs and just see a bunch of effigies of stuffed animals.
Kids
I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Are extremely impressionable. And that's the thing is, like, as a former GameStop employee, and this is something you could contest to, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Whenever a 6-year-old kid or whatever would come in and their parents would buy them Grand Theft Auto, and you'd have to sit there and be like, "Are you an asshole?"
Sure?
Like, well, that was kind of like GameStop wanted you to be like, "Hey, just so you know, this game's rated mature for blood and gore and boobies." I reached a point at GameStop when parents would come in and they try and buy like Saints Row or Grand Theft Auto for their 6-year-old. I'd be like, "What are you, an asshole?"
Literally.
Yeah, like. Then they'd be like, "What? It's a video game." I'm like, "It's not fucking Mario, dipshit." Like,
yeah.
It's literally, this game is not for children.
Yeah. I used to, do the whole thing of like, okay, they're oblivious. They think video games are all like childish or whatever because that whole bullshit.
Sure.
All right, cool. So, I would take the opportunity to educate them. Like, look, like video games are for like all ages and stuff. There's a range of different things, and there's mature only games that your kid should not be having. Like I would literally pull up like gameplay of GTA, like of the naughty bits, and be like, this is in the game. You can literally just go to this.
Can I just do a quick little like question?
Sure.
In it no more than 5 minutes.
Sure.
And I'll start. What was the first Grand Theft Auto game you finished front to back?
Front to back.
And
5.
for me, it was 4.
Vice City.
First one I played and the first one I finished. 5.
5. Okay. Yep. And
I kind of avoided it until then.
No, 4, I personally think had a better storyline than 5, but
4 definitely had a better storyline than 5.
But
5 had much better controls than any Grand Theft Auto before it.
I liked driving in 4, Dave.
It was so bad. It was so bad. Every car couldn't turn. It was so bad.
I liked the car physics more. Like
why? They couldn't turn.
The damage and everything.
Okay.
A lot more because like in 5, if I hit like somebody head on at like 60 miles an hour, they might not even like, slump over. Or no, sorry. Actually, opposite.
They would go flying.
Sorry, opposite. GTA 5, if I hit them doing like 10 miles an hour, I could be like barely moving and they might like die.
Yeah.
But like I actually have to do an impact in GTA 4 to get them to like, be realistic.
My biggest problem with GTA 4, because it took place in Liberty City, which is, as we know,
New York.
akin to New York City.
Yeah, of course.
Was none of the cars could turn around corners. You had to use don't get me wrong, you should use your brake when turning anyway. But if I take my car and I'm stepping on
the grid's set up.
Yeah. If I take my car here in real life and I take a 90-degree turn going 25 miles an hour, I can make that turn. Right?
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 4, if I'm going 25 miles an hour or the equivalent of 25 miles an hour,
into the building across the street,
and I hit the turn, I'm not even making it across the street. I'm barely crossing, turning anything, crossing the lane, and I'm smashing into the car in front of me. Meanwhile, I have 36 fucking Terminators behind me with flashing lights.
Dude, I will say the cops in GTA 4 were some of the hardest ones I had faced.
Yeah.
Out of all the GTAs. But beyond that subject, that was my boss that was notable was the Mighty Pooh.
The Great Mighty Pooh.
But if we just want to go in rotation, Jordan, what's another one that comes to mind?
I mean, one last thing on the Great Mighty Pooh is just that song was so iconic.
Course. It's so iconic. If y'all haven't heard it, go out to YouTube, whatever, and look up the Great Mighty Pooh from Conkers, and that's Conkers.
Yes. Anybody watching on YouTube, I'll put in a little clip somewhere.
Me. I am the Great Mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my shit at you. A huge supply of tish comes from my chocolate starfish. How about some scat, you little
Spoiled YouTubers.
Jordan, what's another one of your mobs or bosses that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, so we did something that you liked. What was something that you were just fuck this?
Okay.
So I just want to say with Sephiroth, definitively, yes, Kingdom Hearts 2 was the best iteration. I never definitively said that.
No, it wasn't.
I agree. I agree.
It was terrible.
Oh my god.
It's never gonna end, man.
I'm staring daggers at him for those no one can see because we're not recording video. So yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I'm staring daggers at him. Anyway.
Everyone else. Everybody except for the people in this room.
Yeah,
at least you're not
everyone else.
At least you're not.
They're just extras.
At least you're not staring at me with those horrible keys from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Hey, if you do animations with this, can you make me smack him in the face with the keyblade?
I'll try my best.
Okay, thank you.
And just put a little sensor over it that says delisted.
Can we delist him?
You know what I'll do? You know what I'll do for this is I'll do the Final Fantasy battle thing, and it'll be Jordan attacked Ryan, and it'll do the little animation with the key, and then it'll pop up a 0, and it'll just be Ryan delisted Kingdom Hearts.
Pop up a 0, and then have him put the glasses on and say he's blinded.
Yeah, he'll just put more glasses over his glasses.
Yeah, just put a second layer.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Something to think about in the future.
So you have to do exactly what we just described. Thankfully,
it's recorded, so it'll make it easier for my dumb brain to remember it.
All
right, so Jordan, what's another mob or boss or anything that was your least favorite?
Yeah, just something you didn't
I literally had it written down and I lost the note. Probably have to end up being not really a boss, but the first one that I remember
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a boss. It could just be a mob.
Was in Tony Hawk, every third level or so is a tournament or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
The first one in Tony Hawk 3, the first game I played.
I don't remember that
one. Which game was that?
Tony Hawk 3 was the one where you're in the foundry for the first level.
Yeah.
And the second level's Canada.
Yep.
Okay.
And 3 is the suburbs or something. So there's just a small skate park and a bunch of I think it's LA houses and stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's just a skate park that's based in LA.
Yeah.
And it's got the tournament going and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can never beat it. Never beat it as a kid. I mean, played it later and beat it, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what? I mean, you might have had a different experience with it, Tony Hawk. Did you play the 1 and 2 remake?
Yes.
I felt like that was so much harder than the PS1 game.
It's because the hitboxes were more accurate. It's the exact same reason that the Crash remake was a lot harder.
Well, the Crash remake I actually found easier, except for certain jumps. Yeah.
So the jump. So in the original for Crash, the hitboxes for all platforms
were square.
Were perfect squares.
Yeah.
In the remake, they were actually rounded off corners.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't hit it exactly precise enough, you would just bounce off.
Yeah. That was definitely an issue with that. But
Get good.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. The Tony Hawk remake. Although I think the best one was Tony Hawk's Underground.
Yeah.
I think Pro Skater might have been my favorite.
Pro Skater was
one?
which one? Yeah,
Probably
1 through 4, right?
I think there was only 4 Pro Skater, and then it went to Underground.
think it was- was
I
Underground,
think it was
I
the
think.
first one because it was N64.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
either the first. It was one of the first 2.
Yeah,
The
because
second one was on 64?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it was only the first one.
I think it was both of them.
No, I think it was both of them. But
They didn't. The third one wasn't.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
because that was PS2.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
But
I
I
think
thought the second one was PS1.
I don't
it
remember.
might have been.
I mean, I had it on PS1, but I don't. It could have been on.
My cousin had the first one on 64. Yeah.
I didn't get it until way later on N64. I started with 2, and then I found out that you could get Spider-Man, and I did the cheat code to unlock Spider-Man, and that was a lot of fun.
What was the and it was the PS1 version.
PS1 version. Yeah,
What was the first game's secret character?
I don't think the first game had one.
It had to. Come on.
The second one was Spider-Man. The third one was Darth Maul
Yep. And Wolverine.
and Wolverine. I don't remember what the fourth one was.
Boba Fett was one of them.
Yeah,
Maybe it was Jango Fett. I'm assuming it's Boba though.
yeah, but I don't remember. I don't remember if the first one had it. I think it didn't, because I think they were trying to figure out if people liked it or not.
Mm.
It was very experimental at the time.
Okay, so in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, the 2 characters are Officer Dick and Private Carrero. In Pro Skater 2, they return alongside Spider-Man and 80s Tony Hawk. In Pro Skater 3, you had Wolverine and Darth Maul. In Pro Skater 4, there was Daisy, Eddie from Iron Maiden, Django Fett, and Mike Bailey.
And then we got the lovely Skate.
Skate was fantastic.
Yeah, they're great series.
Skate.
Are they?
Yeah, it's in like alpha.
Oh yeah,
they're
they're making a Skate 4.
no, they're making just Skate.
Yeah, which is the 4th iteration.
Yeah.
I mean, Skate. So for me, we kind of devolved here, but Skate. My favorite part about that game was the bone breaking.
The Hall of Meat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so funny.
Mm.
Just ragdolling everywhere and just seeing
absolutely.
how horrible you get. Like, it reminded me of the insurance fraud missions in Saints Row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those were fantastic.
So Dave, what is your least favorite mob?
Yeah, so something that I've put a lot of thought into this, because I came up with several. So it was really hard narrowing it down to just like one. And I didn't want to include like fighting games, because it's clearly a skill issue.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do like a traditional like turn-based RPG or anything, because I mean, if an enemy is a pain in the ass in a turn-based RPG, it's just because,
Skill issue.
well, their stats are shit.
Yeah.
But no, one that just kind of stood
Put
out
on
to
the water ring for Genova.
What's that?
Put on the water ring for Genova Dreamweaver at the end of Disc 1.
I've never had a problem with any Genova fight in Final Fantasy VII.
But if you put on the water ring that you get right before the battle, the infamous battle where the big thing happens, where that person gets the thing.
It's a fucking 30-year-old game almost. You can...
I was trying to be annoying.
Thank you, Dave, for answering.
Where Aerith gets fucking stabbed in the back.
Yes.
If you put on the water ring, you get in the capital, like right before that, if you explore everywhere, you put it on Cloud, and literally every single one of Genova Dreamweaver's attacks gets absorbed.
Yeah.
So you can literally just rubber band the confirm button and just go get a sandwich. One of the game fact like guides that literally says like that exact line. I just remember it 20 something years later.
You can make me a sandwich.
Game guides from the RPGeek Podcast. That'd actually be a fun thing. We should remember that.
Can you make me one?
Anyway,
Okay.
so like a boss that just
You just got pissed off at.
and then I just fucking hated. Man, there were a couple, but I think the one that really got on my nerves more than anything else was from I can't remember which one it was. It was another Dark Souls boss.
Get good.
Yeah, I think it was Bloodborne technically, but it was one of the DLC bosses in
Bloodborne?
through Bloodborne.
I don't remember many DLC bosses from Bloodborne.
So
I
there
don't
was,
think I played much of the DLC.
I can't remember. It was the first boss. I can't remember his name, like Ludwig or something like that.
Sounds familiar.
Was his name?
What is this, Mario?
Yeah, no, Mario bosses don't bother me typically.
No, because the Koopaling Ludwig.
Yeah,
Ludwig.
yeah.
Ludwig.
Yeah, the one that looks like Mozart.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that was the only boss in the Bloodborne DLC that I had an issue with. Was the first dude. He had the holy sword, and it was this weird friggin' thing. Like Sister Maria, I whooped her ass.
Yeah.
Like she didn't stand a chance. The Orphan of Kos whooped its ass. Did not stand a chance. But for whatever reason, that first boss, it just like I was there for about 3 days.
The tutorial
jeez.
boss?
No, not the
Not the father?
no. In the DLC.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I missed that.
In the Old Hunters DLC. Just for whatever reason, I was just sitting there and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I reached a point where my goal when I played through Bloodborne was like, I want to do this by myself. Right? I didn't want to summon anybody. I didn't want to. But there was a point where I was like, I just want to finish this. So I tried summoning somebody. I still couldn't do it. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a break, walk away, and
I'll get back to this.
I came back and I did it. Obviously, I beat the whole thing. It's one of my favorite Souls games, and but for whatever reason, that one and in Elden Ring, that first like real boss, Margot or whatever.
I don't know. I'm waiting to 100% Demon Souls first.
Oh my god, whatever the first like real boss is in Elden Ring was just a pain in the ass. I can't remember his name. I just remember him being an asshole.
Like most bosses in Elden Ring.
Well, and that's the thing. Is like those are traditionally difficult bosses. They're designed to be difficult.
Of course.
Right? I think outside of those, just a generic like, wow, this is hard kind of thing would be like any of the Mega Man bosses. Like until you learn the patterns from like those early Mega Man games, like, you know, you'd have like Cutman in the original one wasn't super difficult, right? And then you know in the X games they were pretty easy. Like especially there were certain ones where you would just like if you had their weakness, you could just smack the shit out of them and that'd be it. But like the OG NES Mega Man games, some of the hardest bosses that like just until
they
you
were ruthless on those old school games.
Yeah, until you learned it, like those are tough, man.
Yeah. No, I have
Real
to agree
tough.
with that. I have to agree with that.
But I mean, NES games in general were just hard.
Yeah.
Because it was a weird transition from arcade to being at home, where like arcades will have specific levels designed to just you're supposed to put quarters in. Like they're not meant to be fair, right? They're designed to be like, all right, pay out.
The claw machine of levels.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, exactly. But like in the NES, you had a lot of games that had those, where it's just like, you know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, the first one.
That one was hard.
There were certain parts where it was practically impossible.
Yeah.
And the
E.T.
I mean,
Well,
that almost destroyed the
It was
entire
just
gaming
broken,
industry.
yeah.
This is a broken. Like I own several copies of that game. It's just not a fun game. It does.
You own several copies?
Yeah. So I have
All physical?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, one I got from the landfill
That's cool.
before it got like super expensive, and then one with
Does it work?
I don't know. I haven't tried that one.
Fair enough.
Because I had one before that, which was I think it was my dad's.
gotcha.
Just years ago, and it just somehow made its way to me. And then I know my uncle has one as well. But it's just one of those like neat, like this is a dumb thing.
Absolutely.
Best game of the year.
Yeah, game of the entire universe. Ryan, I mean, I probably could sit there and think of some better ones, but what's one that you sat there and you're like, screw this. This is the worst.
So there's one game going back to N64. We talked about that game earlier, Glover.
Oh yeah, dude, Glover.
Oh, Glover.
Spanky. I hated him.
That was
The orangutan.
Was that the one in the circus level? I don't remember that
I
one.
think so, if I can recall off the top of my head. I remember very vibrant colors and whatnot, but I remember sitting there for literally days trying to beat him. And I remember asking like friends at the time. Like they were also like little like me at the time, and they're like, "Hey, we can't do it either." Like, and it was just like he was such an OP boss to that game.
Yeah,
like he really, really was.
And
it took me a long time to finally beat him, but he was like the main boss of the game.
Glover is one of those like unique games where
It's a very underrated game.
Well, I think it definitely, it was originally going to get a sequel, but it didn't sell well.
Yeah.
But what's crazy about Glover is there's two versions of it.
Is there?
Yeah. So the N64 version is the main version. It's like, that's the way the game is supposed to be played, is the N64 one. The PS1 version of the game
Oh, I didn't know they had a PS1 version.
There is a PS1 version of the game. That is, it's like a dumbed down version. It's like the few times that the N64 version is better. Like Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo had that, where like Aladdin was better on the Genesis, Home Alone was better on the Genesis. Glover was one of the few times.
How is the Home Alone video game?
Terrible. All of them are bad.
That's fair. I mean,
But the Genesis, if you're going to play it, play the Genesis one.
can we play that sometime?
I don't own it, but I'm sure I could find it.
Okay.
But Glover on the PS1 is actually a dumbed down version of Glover.
Now, when you say dumbed down version, is it like nerfed or is there like missing portions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great answer.
So if you played Glover on the N64,
Yeah.
you remember that, like, after you get through the first level, which is very Olympian and everything,
Yep.
not super difficult.
No.
The circus level was the immediate wall
Yes.
right afterwards.
Yeah.
That circus level in the PS1 version is easy as hell.
Okay.
It, like, there's entire parts of that level that just don't work,
There was
which make it easy.
and this is from like an old memory. I remember in Glover there was like this like dark kind of like desert level,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was also like the pirate ship level where you had to deal with water
Mhm.
and all that stuff. And I always found those to be a pain in the butt. But man, the bosses in that game were just so wild.
I loved the final boss where you just get into it's just a giant mech fight.
Essentially,
Like,
yeah.
that was great.
And if I can think of one mob, it's way more modern. That I've just found to be a pain in the butt. The Doom Eternal. It was the Marauder.
Yeah, those things fucking suck.
Yeah.
Which one was the Marauder?
The Marauder's
The
the
one
one where
that
you
has
have
the
to like
energy
fucking
sword.
block and like do
Oh,
all the
You
bullshit.
have to
yeah.
time it like perfectly to be able to
Yeah.
actually do damage to him.
Yeah,
Yep.
if
Such
you
a pain in
ever
the
come
butt.
back and you're not like remembering everything, you're like, how the fuck do I beat this?
Yeah,
thing? It's exactly what happened to me
100%.
when I tried to
Yeah,
replay
no,
it.
the Marauder was one of those mobs that, don't get me wrong, like it's a good mob, like
Very well designed.
very well designed, but he's such a pain in the ass.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you take a break from Doom Eternal and go back, and it's like, how do I do this again?
Mhm.
And it's so annoying.
That mob is literally the reason why I never played the DLCs, because I didn't want to sink the time to like relearn like everything.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I never 100% in the base game. I got to go back and 100% at first because everything's maxed out in the DLCs.
See, games like Doom, I have no desire to 100% because a lot of the stuff that they put in there, like the collectibles and shit nowadays, are just so bullshit.
Well, I
Where
like
it's just like
at least like 100% of the skills.
But like in 2016 Doom, you had like the runes that you could go and find, and then you had to do these crazy challenges in order to get the rune.
Some
Like,
of those were bullshit.
I have no desire to
The only
do that.
thing that
Skill issue.
the only
It's not a skill issue. It's
Skill issue.
I don't want to put the time in.
the only
issue.
collectibles that I wanted from Doom Eternal were the bobbleheads.
Yeah, the little bobbleheads
Yeah,
were
those
awesome.
are those are cool. Those are
Those
cool.
were great. And that's the thing, is like you go, you find those. Like I went around and I found everything, right?
My favorite is the Doom Guy one because it's got like a fist and he like pounds it.
Yeah, that was great.
It's adorable.
That was awesome. But like you got all those. That was fun. You know, I got all the random items and whatever.
And then, like the music,
Yeah.
music thing.
I 100%ed that
Found
whole
all the
2016 game.
old school Doom levels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Played through those. Those were great. But like the runes were fucking dumb.
Yeah, they were
I
pretty
hated
bad.
that.
They were
So
pretty
there
bad-
was
bad in that one.
one. I forget what the challenge was, but it was the one where like you couldn't get hit at all.
Yeah.
That one was a bitch. The rest of them, honestly, 2 maybe 3 tries.
That's the thing. But it was just like at a certain point, I was just like, I just want to finish this game. Like, and that was just kind of the feeling that I had where I was just like, I'm having fun with this, but the runes just take away from that fun.
Yeah, I guess for me, Doom, like, because like, you know, even the originals, they had like the secret percentage and all
Yeah.
that. Like, it just made me want to find everything anyway. The fact that there was a map that updated as you explored was like, yes, I can find everything if I want to. I will 100% this level before I move on.
And I didn't mind that, but I think the fact that the runes took you out of that map,
Yeah, it was a
also,
little wonky.
like, also took it away
And
from
since
me.
Yeah.
we're talking about Doom, Dave, you brought it to my attention a couple months ago.
What's
The
that?
Doom Dark Ages.
Oh yeah, the new one.
fucking can't wait.
That thing
looks
looks
sick.
so sick.
That skull gun looks ridiculous.
oh,
Yeah.
it looks so good.
And the fact that you could Captain America everybody with that shield, dude, that was sick.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'm excited.
cannot wait.
No,
Yeah,
we're
that's
huge in this house. We're huge Doom fans.
Yes.
I'm hoping they don't. I mean, Eternal's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they focus way too much on the fucking multiplayer,
I
and it was a shitty multiplayer. I don't
actually
care about
liked the multiplayer.
I haven't
it's
had the
well made and it's fun, but
It's
like
simple.
Overall, I don't give a shit about that one compared to what they had in 2016.
16's multiplayer was definitely better.
Eternal had multiplayer. I didn't think it did.
Well, it didn't have
battle
co-op.
mode.
It had like battle modes and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
but
like
2016 had a co-op and or like rival thing.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
2016 I was what I knew for multiplayer.
Yeah,
and I
it's
really
great.
enjoyed that.
Yeah,
The snap map and all that, it's great.
Just like even like the death match was so much fun. It was so simple.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like Unreal Tournament.
It
like
literally
way back
was
in the
Unreal
day.
Tournament.
Yeah.
Eternal had everything that 16 had except for co-op.
Yeah, except the
Yeah.
multiplayer stuff. It was something called battle mode where literally it
was like
player?
hordes. It was like hordes.
Yeah, so there's a horde mode.
Yeah.
But there's also one player is the Slayer.
Oh yeah.
The rest
Yeah,
are the
yeah.
demons. And, you know, like all Caco Demon, the Revenant, all that stuff. You choose which one you want, and they are all trying to kill the Slayer, who's like overpowered. It's like
It's kind of like Versus from Left 4 Dead.
or like Evolve but good.
Yeah.
Man, Evolve is such wasted potential.
Honestly, Evolve but good is kind of like perfect.
Almost. Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 1. The first thing that I absolutely hated was actually a mini boss.
So you should have hated the whole game.
Damn, dude.
I love you. Shut the fuck up. Let me say my shit. Dave. Because he doesn't exist right now. Love you, Ryan.
Yes.
Okay, so for first mini boss that I absolutely fucking hated in Kingdom Hearts, it was actually the part of the game where I could not pass until I got good. Until, you know, my dexterity got better. Anyway, it's in Agrabah. It's the battle where you're fighting the Cave of Wonders.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck that battle as a kid. Now I can do it no problem. But fuck that battle. Because just having to like either figure out how to time the guarding to like shoot back those eye beams at the right time while being attacked by all those fucking Heartless, or figuring out that you can glitch through the back of the neck of the dude and climb up his head. Fuck that shit.
I don't remember having a problem with that one, but I do remember that fight.
You were also way more like well versed in video games, way more so.
Yeah, I definitely played that at a point where I was starting to get good at video games.
That was the part where I was still nowhere near good at video games, and I was still trying to figure everything out. But like, goddamn. Then a little bit later, once I finally got past that, the first actually, is it the first Riku battle? I think it's the first Riku battle where you're in Hollow Bastion.
Yep.
And he's like possessed by Ansem and stuff.
That one fuck
that battle.
That one stopped me.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you fight Riku in Hollow Bastion.
Well, actually both of them. The one where you lose the Keyblade after that battle.
Yes.
In the foyer. That one's a bitch, but then also the one where you fight him after, you know, the whole plot line where you become a Heartless and all that. You fight him when Ansem's actually taking him over.
No, the one that stopped me was the one right before you became Heartless. That slowed me to a crawl.
Yeah, so that's the one. That's the one I'm talking. That's in
Hollow Bastion.
What's the name of the room though?
I don't remember.
It's after the castle chapel. It's
in
the chamber where all the princesses are sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that battle.
That was so hard the first time I did that.
Even the one before that, right before he steals the Keyblade from you for a little bit. Fuck that battle. Or was it right when you got it back? I don't know. No, it was right when you got it back.
Yeah.
Fuck that battle.
Yeah. So hard.
Both of them were fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
All right.
Glad we're in agreement.
Yes. So another boss that just kind of got to me really early on in a game was actually, did you guys ever play Pokemon Yellow? Specifically Yellow?
Vaguely.
No, not really that much.
So are you familiar with like
yeah,
what Yellow...
Pikachu follows you around.
So that was
it's
the
red
main
and
thing.
blue mixed together, just like Emerald is Ruby and Sapphire mixed together.
It's similar, but so the difference is that Yellow kind of followed the anime in a way. Like,
right.
So in it you had Pikachu following you around. Blue or green, depending on your translation, / Gary had Eevee was his main Pokemon, which is why we got the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee games down the line. But you also had like Jesse and James from the anime. You ended up getting the other 3 starters naturally throughout the game. But in that, the first boss was Brock. Same as the other. The first gym leader, Brock. But up until that point, you had in your party was a Pikachu, and you could get like a Nidoran, male or female. You could get a Pidgey, a Caterpie, maybe a Weedle, I think. But like there was really nothing that you could get that actually put you at any sort of advantage against Brock, who in Red and Blue, if you got like Bulbasaur or Squirtle, you were set. Like it wasn't difficult at all. But in the Pikachu edition, the Yellow edition was so friggin' hard, dude. You had to get to a point where Pikachu, I think it was like level 10 or something, where Pikachu could learn like Tackle or Quick Attack or something like that.
I think it's Quick Attack.
Yeah, to even be able to do any damage against this dude.
Isn't that how the anime rolls out though?
No, the anime Ash cheats as per usual. Pikachu goes fucking nuts, sets off the sprinklers for the fire alarm, and then Pikachu zaps Onyx, who's wet, and it hurts him. But like you can't really do that in a turn-based RPG where it's just like you against one other thing.
Sounds like a skill issue.
I mean, well, it's funny you mentioned that, because you have like Final Fantasy X where there's certain fights where it's just like hit this thing to to cause the explosion.
Hit the ballista to cause a huge explosion on Sin.
Yeah, exactly. Versus Pokemon where it's just like, my Pikachu's fighting an Onyx. Let's see how this goes.
Really well, right?
Absolutely not, dude. The amount of grinding that you have to do early Yellow Edition is stupid. Like, as much as I love those original 3 games based on pure nostalgia, that was dumb. That was bullshit. That was one boss that kind of really got on my nerves as a kid.
As someone who did not play through Yellow, how close did Yellow follow to the anime? Like, was it like a good adaptation or
no? I mean, have you played Red and Blue?
Yeah,
I played
Red.
It's that, but every once in a while you mix in, like, perfect example that I remember in, I think it's Cerulean City, when you first meet Team Rocket, when you first find out about Team Rocket, the regular Rocket grunts are replaced with Jesse and James.
That's basically it.
I mean, there's more to it than that.
I mean, I would hope they are replaced with them, because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that, but essentially it's just Red and Blue with occasional sprinkles of the anime.
With small temporary reskins.
Occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's
and Pikachu follows you.
He can learn Surf, which he couldn't in the other versions. And there's certain fights that are tweaked here and there, but overall it's the same. It's the same game. Once you get past Brock, you're not stopping.
How far in the anime's run did Yellow come out?
Indigo Plateau Saga, like, I don't even
think...
So
it was definitely like season 1 was over.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it was over. I think it was still going on.
Wait, yeah, Indigo Plateau's the original.
Yeah. I think it was...
For some reason, it registered that you said Orange Islands. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it was pre-Orange Islands, which we had the Sevi Islands in the Fire Red and Leaf Green, but I kind of wish that there was, that anime-only filler arc. I kind of wish actually got a game adaptation.
Which, that part of... Fire Red... The part of like the islands in Ruby and Sapphire, they like incorporated that into the base game. Mm-hmm. That was bullshit.
Yeah,
I fucking hated that part. Anyway, so you said fuck Yellow, essentially.
No, I love Yellow.
Yeah,
just
but
Brock in general
Brock
was awful. I mean, my favorite is Soul Silver. If we're talking about Pokemon,
okay,
Silver was my favorite back then, and then Soul Silver,
Articuno, or Zapdos. Zapdos. Apparently, I'm adding an accent to that.
You're just adding a whole syllable to it.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 birds, probably...
Or Ho-Ho, of course.
Well, I mean...
Because there's 4 birds.
Well, there's 5 birds. You add Lugia to it.
Lugia's a dragon.
He's a bird.
He's a dragon.
He's got hands.
He's a dragon type.
He's a bird with hands.
He's a dragon type.
I think so is Ho-Oh.
No.
So, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Articuno, Zapdos, or Moltres. I think in terms of design, Zapdos is a very simple design. It's an electric type, which is fun. Mm-hmm. I think it's the most bird... Zapdos, Ho-Oh, and Articuno are the ones that look the most like birds. Mm-hmm. Moltres is a very close second for that. Lugia does not look like a bird at all.
He is a dragon.
I mean, look, that's your...
I'm adamant.
I mean, that is your interpretation, and I'm willing to give you that. But it stands side by side with Ho-Oh. So I'm going to include it in this conversation, unless you just want to keep it to the original 3.
Okay, actually, they changed it to Psychic Flying. Okay, fair enough. I remember Dragon. Maybe I'm totally remembering.
I mean,
wrong.
I think it could learn Dragon type moves, but
Maybe
I don't
that's
think it
what
was
it is.
actually a dragon.
Maybe that's what it
Because
is.
technically Charizard can learn Dragon type moves, but
Charizard's a dragon. Anyone who says otherwise is an idiot.
yeah,
I don't care what Nintendo says.
I mean, Game Freak says he's not until he's a Mega Evolution. So
That's true. All right, let me rephrase that, and then we'll move on.
sure,
Valor, Instinct, or the one that I don't remember.
Mystic, I think
Mystic, yes,
this is Pokemon Go
yes,
clans or whatever the hell. Which one was the red one? Valor.
Valor, which was Moltres.
Yeah, I picked that based on color.
I did Zapdos, which is
You
Instinct.
keep adding an extra syllable. It's Zapdos.
Did I really do that time?
You did.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes, you
shit!
did.
Okay, I didn't mean to. Yeah, I know it's Zapdos. I know it is.
Zabados.
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 You made him sound like I like Zabados.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like
it
very.
almost should be.
I mean, it's very like Spanish.
Yeah.
Zabados.
Zapdos.
I mean, it should be right because it's like Articuno uno 1,
Yeah.
Zapdos 2, and Moltres 3. So
Yeah.
Zabados.
Yeah.
Like I like that.
I think that's kind of why I did it,
it could be.
but I don't know.
I like that.
Anyway, Zapdos. I chose Instinct because Zapdos.
Well, now what made you pick Zapdos over everything else?
Zapdos is just my favorite of the three. Just I don't know. I've always been
You like that
Shoot.
black and yellow?
black and
Black and yellow,
black and
black and
yellow,
yellow,
black
black
and
and
yellow.
yellow.
No, I've always liked electric type
Mhm.
like stuff. When I have to choose between like different elements, electric's my go-to. If not that, then the edge in me comes out and it's darkness.
The edgy.
The edgy.
So as far as like the birds, like my personal favorite overall, for whatever reason, is Lugia. I think part of that is because of the movie.
Well, yeah, Lugia probably like if I had it of all five, sure.
Yeah, I think
But
out of the three,
yeah.
I think my favorite would either be Zapdos or Articuno. Which is weird that I picked Moltres or Valor for Pokemon Go when I did play
also
it.
anyone who chose Valor was an asshole. At least in the early days,
I-
they were all assholes.
All I wanted to do was have a Vulpix, and they would never spawn anywhere near where I lived, and I didn't get one until I went to New York, and I was sitting there in Bryant Park with like 5 million other people just playing Pokemon Go, and but yeah, no, that's the biggest boss that I hate is RNG. Screw you, RNG.
yeah.
RNG
100%.
is the worst.
All right, so you said Zapdos, but Valor.
In terms of design, I really like Zapdos from the original 3. Overall, Lugia is my favorite of the birds.
Fair. You have opinion, Ryan?
No,
You're not a
really.
big Pokemon guy, are you?
No, I'm not a huge Pokemon guy.
Fair enough.
I played Red, Blue, Silver, and Gold like way back when, but I was never and Emerald. But I was never like huge into Pokemon. I was huge into collecting the cards because I was a hoarder as a child.
Who wasn't?
I mean, fair enough. I didn't care about Pokemon until a friend of mine in middle school let me borrow his copy of Sapphire. And I played the shit out of that. I played the shit out of Diamond. And I kind of just fell off by then. So I consider myself like a Pokemon poser. I know too much because of GameStop.
Yeah, fair.
But if I didn't work at GameStop, I would know very little. I would know those 2 games and that's it.
What did they call them back in the day? The Gen 1ers or whatever? The people who were just like, the original 151 were the best, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't that.
To be fair, they are, though, because otherwise it just gets too... Actually, I would extend it to maybe Gen 3 tops.
So,
And then I'd be like, all right, we're done. There's like 300 something Pokemon.
I
We're
think
good.
Gen 3 just kind of was where it went off the rails. My personal favorite was Silver, Gen 2. Cyndaquil was my boy.
That's fair.
And
Mudkip, though. All the memes.
yeah. I mean, Pokemon, I don't think ever, outside of Brock in Yellow, I don't think there was ever a difficult fight in Pokemon.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's true. As long as you prepared. I mean, some of them, like, mechanically, if you're not prepared, sure.
In terms of the main story, I would disagree. I feel like the main story, you could kind of
Okay, yeah,
bumble
the
your
gym
way
battles,
through.
yeah, fuck it. I'm talking about, like, Elite Four or equivalents or whatever.
Well, I mean, even Elite Four, I would say like Battle Tower had some crazy nonsense, you know. But yeah, I think Pokemon was pretty easy. Sticking with like Nintendo, though, we've all played Zelda,
yeah, of course.
right? We've all played several of them. Is there, Zelda is kind of renowned for its dungeons, its bosses, its mobs. What's a specific Zelda dungeon or Zelda boss or whatever that kind of stood out to everybody?
Dark Ganon from Wind Waker.
Okay.
The dark version of Ganon.
Yeah.
Where he had like all the highlights and everything like that. It almost looked like Ganon from Tron.
Yeah, he had like the weird armor and everything.
Yeah. No, he stood out to me just aesthetically.
Yeah,
especially.
that one was neat because it followed the Ocarina of Time battle style, where it's just like the death volley, where you just he threw the ball at you, you got to smack it back. That one was pretty neat. What about you?
For me, it's actually another mini boss. It's Twilight Princess.
Mm-hmm.
It's the monkey battle.
The very first
mini boss, the monkey battle.
Yep.
I mean, like, it's not even just that battle. It's just the whole story arc that goes along with that monkey, like a specific character. Like, he's an asshole at first. He like fucks you up a couple times. He keeps breaking the bridges and shit. But then you beat his ass.
Quite literally.
Literally, you beat his ass. You literally target his ass.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a baboon. What do you expect? But okay, that's in the podcast anyway. And then he, I guess, like beating his ass. There we go. From the other side this time. He like gains respect or whatever. He actually helps you in the final battle.
Well, I mean, it's interpreted through the story that whatever crown was on his head just kind of was messing with him and making him like dark, and which was I think a perfect theme for the entirety of Twilight Princess.
Yeah, it was the Twilight powers were fucking with his brain.
Yeah, and it just kind of showed how it affects just regular creatures.
Yeah, once you get the crown off, you went,
yeah. Now we just need you to do it.
You sound
was
like
way
Mickey
too
Mouse
loud.
on
You
that
sound
one.
like Mickey. Now you sound like the turtle fucking the shoe.
No, what? No, the turtle. Yeah. That's. Welcome to the Weird Sounds podcast.
The RPGeek Podcast.
No, it's. But yeah, that entire battle is, I don't know.
Well, plus you get the
stands
Gale
out.
Boomerang after that, which was just a sick.
Well, you
item.
get it for the battle. That's how you attack.
That's right.
Yeah.
You get it right for the battle, which was just a great item.
The
Yeah.
boomerang was fantastic.
Yeah, especially in that one. That was a lot of fun.
Best iteration of Boomerang, hands down.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
The one in was it Phantom Hourglass, the DS one? That one was cool because you can
That's
like
the one
draw
where you
the
were
path.
drawing where it was going. Yeah,
but-
that was neat.
Still, the Gale Boomerang is way better.
Yeah,
You can set like 8 waypoints and just go.
yeah.
It was awesome.
So for Zelda, there's a few obvious ones. I mean, Dark Link in Adventure Link was kind of like a whoa, that's crazy. But for me, I think the boss that really stood out to me in all of Zelda, just because of how weird it was Bongo Bongo in Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah.
So that was
No,
just
Bongo Bongo was
Ocarina of Time.
I don't know why I think it was Majora's. Because it's so weird.
It's so weird. It's so out
Yeah.
of place. Like
That's what, the Spirit Temple?
the Spirit Temple was so the mini boss for the Spirit Temple
Was the Shadow?
was the Iron Knuckle, and then the final boss was Twin Rova. But like Bongo Bongo was just so friggin' weird.
What was Bongo Bongo though?
That was the Shadow Temple.
There was a Shadow?
That was the Shadow Temple.
That's the one under the well?
No. But that would be, I would consider that the mini boss to the Shadow Temple was Dead Hand. That thing like was nightmare fuel for an N64 game.
Fuel.
Which one was the Shadow Temple though?
The Shadow Temple was the one behind in the graveyard.
Behind the graveyard.
Behind
Okay.
the graveyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the well was just like to get to the Shadow
It
Temple.
was what you needed to get the Lens of Truth, which you technically don't need ever in the game if you know what you're doing. But I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, it's very helpful to, get to places. But yeah, no, Dead Hand in the bottom of the well was friggin' creepy. Just like the way it moved, its limbs and everything, those hands,
100%.
like the fact that you needed to
It was
get
almost like the girl from The Ring, almost.
almost. But I mean, at least she could have, at least she looked like a person.
But like the way it contoured
Did she?
well, the way
I don't know, dude. Like memes for the girl of the ring now are just so hot where it's just like you just kind of sit there. You're like, this isn't scary anymore.
the way that like
Why
the
can't my
hand,
girlfriend
like,
do this?
the way the hand like contorted though.
Oh
was
yeah,
just
Yeah, where like you need, in order to bait the boss out, you needed the hand to grab you, and you're just sitting there just mashing it while this dude just like sidles up to you. It's friggin' weird. And then Bongo Bongo was just like, apparently lore wise, was apparently this ancient demon that just like destroyed most of the Sheikah clan in the Ocarina of Time setting. But like when you fight him, it's just this eye with two hands just like slapping a drum.
Oh wait, what? He destroyed most of the Sheikas?
Yeah, so if you read,
I missed that.
Yeah, so if you read the lore throughout it, Bongo Bongo was a sealed away ancient demon that the Sheikah just dealt with, and he had destroyed a lot of their clan. He had destroyed a lot of the the Hylians and things like that.
So what? He was like the Sheikah's clan, Ganon, basically, and they sealed him away.
Not necessarily as bad as Ganon, but he was like, I mean, Ganon was he was one of the generals, if anything. You know, if you need to put like a label on it, you know, it was just basically, he was just this awful creature, like world-ending demon kind of deal. So yeah, Bongo Bongo was in the lore was a demon that basically the Sheikah clan had to seal. And it was extremely dangerous, and it was just kind of like a throwaway kind of line. Like there really wasn't much more than like, this thing's super dangerous, we had to seal it, we couldn't stop it, and then the hero of time's just like, it's because you suck. He just shows up and fucks it up. I actually found out recently, I say recently, but it was in the last couple of years, that the ice arrows work really well against Bongo Bongo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, outside of that, the ice arrows really don't do jack shit in Ocarina of Time. Like the fire arrows are good for lighting, faraway lanterns and things like that. The light arrows, obviously for Ganon, you need them.
Yep.
The ice arrows were just kind of the odd one out, but for Bongo Bongo, like the ice arrows just fuck them up. So
this episode went on for over 4 hours, so I think it's time to end it here. But don't worry, the boys will be back next week with the second part. Stay tuned for the preview of next week's episode of the RPGeek Podcast.
next time on the RPGeek Podcast. You look like you've wanted to say something for a bit, Jordan. What was that?
You die in the game, you die in real life.
It'll be awkward that I point out that Jordan was talking to the readers.
What, do you go to bed right after supper?
Return of the King?
If you think the Matthew Broderick Godzilla is bad, the first fucking Jurassic Park is the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna punch you in your pantslessness. Yeah, I don't know.
That was a
That
kick.
was stupid.
That was stupid. Do you want me to cut that later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, please
No,
do.
we're gonna put that at the end.
Yeah. we probably will.